Hello, movie lovers.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Listen, Listen, Listen. I am your
Um,
host, Kurt Cizil.
hold on. I think that you're on the wrong show. You're actually
I
on Movie
am.
Lovers Tonight today. Yeah, you are. You're,
Oh,
you're on Movie Lovers Tonight. So,
oh, should I
welcome to the
go
show.
or should I? Oh, I'll
You should
stay.
stay. You should stay. You
I'll
should stay
stay.
because we're reviewing The Mask. Remember? So,
Oh
I
yeah. Hi.
hi. How you
Hi.
doing,
I
Curtis?
forgot all about that. I'm fine.
It's
How are
okay.
you?
I'm doing great, man. And I'm just glad to actually have you on the show. And as Curtis actually mentioned, he actually has a podcast called Listen, Listen, Listen. Tell him what Listen, Listen, Listen's all about.
Listen, Listen, Listen is a show about nothing. It has no topic, no theme. It's absolutely pointless. It's just me speaking about absolutely nothing for a couple minutes straight.
And that's right. It's pretty much like the Jerry Seinfeld of a podcast. So if you guys are into comical stuff, skits and stuff like that, Curtis is your man to actually go to. And like I mentioned before, we are actually going to be doing the 1994 film, The Mask, starring Jim Carrey. This movie came out in 1994. This is a comedy. This also has, of course, a very well-known cast. It has Carmen Diaz in it. It has Peter Green, who plays Dorian Tyrell. This movie is just fantastic. I remember going into the movie theaters as a kid to see this film, and my friends and I, just mimicking Jim Carrey, just coming off the cuff with everything that he actually did. So, what was your first introduction into this film? How did you find out about this film as a kid?
As a kid, oh, back in the old days, uh, I'm not sure if I can remember that. And it was so long ago. I started. I don't know when I first watched it, but I watch it probably every year as a tradition. It it's a
Okay.
good movie. Yeah, it's a good movie to watch. I watched it a few weeks ago. I've just watched a few scenes now. Some of my favorite scenes. We'll speak about that later. But I I first watched it. I'm not sure. Around 5 years ago, I'm going to say. I'm going to say
Okay.
5 years ago, but I wasn't actually into it and enjoying it until around 2 years ago. That's when I started
Okay.
watching it regularly.
Okay. And another thing too is this movie, like I said, stars Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey is this zero guy who is actually trying to impress women and stuff like that too. He's also an awkward person, and basically everybody just doesn't even look at Jim Carrey when he works in the bank. And then of course it's storming one day, and then the lovely Cameron Diaz comes in to the bank, and that's when she winds up just doing her Carmen Diaz thing, and they're flirting back and forth. Stanley Ipkiss is
Yep.
just this guy who is just a good around guy who just wants to actually date somebody and have his name out there. And you know, that's one thing that I really appreciate about this film. He goes from a guy who has zero confidence in himself, and then all of a sudden the mask just gives him that confidence to do whatever he wants to do. And that's
Yeah.
one of the main focuses. So, what scenes that actually stood out for you, though, as far as the opening scene goes? Whenever it's raining, you see Carmen Diaz and things like that. So, what did you think about that?
That scene, I didn't really notice that. No, that's not one of the scenes when I think of the movie, I don't think of that scene. But that's a good scene. It sets smoking.
Yeah.
When I first, yeah, that first scene, it's a good scene. It sets up the whole movie as it goes along. But the first movie, when he gets the mask and he puts it on, and it's a metaphor for confidence.
Mm,
I'm
definitely.
guessing.
That's
You
what I'm
didn't think I'd
seeing.
speak like that. The metaphor for confidence.
It's
Fancy.
confidence. Right.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah. But yeah, it's definitely gives him some confidence, gives him a boost and a leg up, no pun intended. But yeah, it actually helps him woo Cameron Diaz's character. And I definitely loved the scene where they're actually in the Coca Cabana club and everything. And
Oh, yeah.
Jim Carrey goes
That's
on ahead. He dresses up like the mask and everything, and he actually has his full confidence. Before he gets into the Coco Cabana and everything,
he
they were
gets
throwing
kicked
him
out.
out.
Yeah, they were
Right,
throwing him out and kicking him out, and then he had a terrible car. But the second he put it on, he had a nice car, and he got in without, and he pushed everyone out of the way. Was he throwing money?
yeah, he
Was
was
that
throwing
another
money.
thing?
No, he was actually throwing money. Remember, he robbed the bank before actually going into the
Oh
club.
yeah.
So
Then he
he
came
was
in with a
just
nice
going ahead.
car.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
had the limo, he had everything. He was just going over there, just making it rain with $100 bills and billions of dollars. And then all of a sudden he goes into the Coca Cabana. He sits down, has his legs up and everything on the table. And that's when his tongue starts rolling out when he receives Carmen Diaz, which is actually Tina.
Yeah.
And I just love the whole entire heart thump at the table. And also, too, whenever he has the coyotes and everything coming out of him. And then, of
Oh
course,
yeah.
he starts dancing with her. This has so much good things with it whenever you look at energetic and everything else, too, of what Jim Carrey can do.
Yeah. And then they start dancing and doing the scene. What is it? Hey Pachuco.
Yep.
Is that a song?
Yeah, I
Hey.
actually have the soundtrack.
You do?
Yeah, I actually owned the soundtrack and everything as a kid. I had the cassette tape and everything, too. And then also too, we also have his neighbor though that's in this movie too. She's actually nosy. She also too she ends up just putting down on Stanley for being loud and obnoxious and everything. And then
Who, the
it just
neighbor,
turns
the
into
person who owns the apartment building?
the apartment building
Oh
too.
yeah.
That's also something else I want to actually go back on though too before the Coco Cabana stuff. But we actually see where people are just bullying him and he's just taking it because he's just a nice guy. And also too, even the scene where it sets up with uh, the mechanics tearing apart his car, and you can definitely tell they're very shady mechanics because they're like, what's this
Yeah.
part? I don't know, this looks like a $500 part, and they just throw it down on the ground like it's nothing. Then he also gets his vengeance on them by sticking
Yeah,
some
he gets
mufflers up their
payback.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, he winds up putting the mufflers up their butts and everything
Oh
too.
yeah.
It's just
That
great. And then right,
yeah, I like that scene. That was the first bit where he came out. Uh,
yeah,
yeah, he did the tornado thing. He said, "It's party time, P-R-T." Why? Cause I gotta. Then he came out. Then he did the apartment building with a nosy neighbor, and then he went to the where did it? Then he said the Tommy gun.
right,
Then, what was it? Yeah, then he did that bit. Then went to Coco Cabana.
right. And then he has that yellow suit on, like Styles Film says as well. He has that yellow suit on. And of course, he's also in his PJs though too, which actually makes it even funnier because the suit turns into his PJs winds up turning into a suit. And then of course he ends up kissing Tina. Tina shoes just flies off her feet. Then of course you actually have Darnell's people that come in and into the thing and starts shooting up the club, and he starts
Yep.
acting like a Russian.
Second
That
favorite scene. That's my second favorite scene. Where he goes into all these characters, into the cowboy, yeehaw. Then he gets shocked, and then he goes, and he coughs, and then he goes, thank you, thank you.
right. He winds up coughing, goes, he goes, you shot me, you shot me, and then all of a sudden he
You
goes and wraps
shot
his arms.
me.
He wraps his arms around the villain's hunchman, and at that point he's like, tell Auntie that I love her. And then all of a sudden he goes, all of a sudden people are clapping. And then it comes into
Yeah,
the whole Academy Award. He goes, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank
yeah.
you, thank you.
And that's the main GIF I use. GIF, same thing. That's the same GIF I use on Twitter. I use every day on Twitter. That's the only one.
That's actually a perfect gift, though, for you, though. I'm just going to say that because
Thank
I
you.
can actually see you
Thank
very
you.
well.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
You're welcome, welcome. but, but yeah, I thought that scene was really well done and perfectly well orchestrated, of course. And then the next day, Stanley wakes up and the
And
cops
he's
are banging on
confused.
his door. Yeah, he's confused. He
Yeah.
thought it was all a dream and stuff like that. And he sees the mask on the, of course, it's wood and everything. Of course, he throws it out
And
the
then a
door,
pile
out
of
the window.
money. He sees a pile of
Yeah,
money in his cupboard, and
yeah.
he gets scared.
And
He's
at
just
that time,
confused. I don't. Yeah, he's just
right,
confused about what's happening, and is it? Is he? He's scared of the money or scared of the people banging at his door?
It's a little bit
He's
of both if you actually think about it, because if you think about it like this, number one, he's freaked out because he found billions of dollars in his closet. He does not know how it got there. He thought everything was a dream. At the same time,
yeah,
you have the cops, the detectives banging on his door, trying to find out what happened at the bank, what happened with the club, and also too the PJs that they find. Like, because remember, he there's whenever they shoot the tie off of him, it doesn't actually have the suit on anymore. It transforms into the actual PJs. So
yeah.
so the detective's like, let me see your PJs. He goes, oh, I threw them out. I don't have them anymore.
Now, where do the clothes come from? Because he's only putting on a mask. Where do the clothes come from? That's
I
what I
believe
want to know.
I believe that actually is a form of masculinity, but not only that, but also probably because of the confidence too. Because he has 0% confidence in himself. So I believe the suit is actually there to actually show confidence in himself
I
and show
see.
power.
And where did he get the suit from? Because he's just in the middle of a tornado and he suddenly goes in PJs and he comes out in the whole suit. Where does it come from?
I believe it just comes from inside of his head. I believe that too. All are the cartoons that he actually watches though too. Because don't forget, he also has a collection of animated cartoons and things like that. So I think it's a little bit of everything that is all mixed into his head. And then what comes into his head comes out into the mask. What do you think?
You make a good point. I think you're right.
All right. So let's see here. Then of course we actually have him and his friends like, man, you should have been at the Coco Cabana and everything. It was just lit and everything back in those days. He was just saying it was just awesome because of the way that everything was. And he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I think I'll go over there someday. And then of course, he doesn't tell him that he's actually the mask. And then of course the detectives are still investigating him, and it's just going awry every single time whenever the cops are actually trying to investigate him.
How
And
does he
then
get rid of the money? I've forgotten. How does he get rid of the money?
he gets rid of the money by just to be honest with you, he just keeps it in the closet, because remember, he just had the money in the closet, I believe. He doesn't really actually get rid of it.
So they don't search? I
They
forgotten. Did
don't
they search?
they were trying to search, but at that time the partner's like, look, we don't really have anything on him or anything like that, so we're just gonna have to leave. They don't even have a search warrant. He was just over there with his BJs and everything. Is like, I found these and everything, and he goes, this matches up your pajamas. And then at that point too, Stanley also throws the mask out the window and everything, and then the mask comes back in. And then I also
Yeah.
like the with Ben Stein in there though too, because he goes over to Ben Stein's place, who's actually a archaeologist who studies masks.
Psychiatrist or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
it's from Loki and it only works at night.
right, and he goes, "Look, I'm going to show you something." He goes, and he puts it on. Right.
No, it's not working. Let me try again. It doesn't work.
And he goes, Stanley.
Doesn't work. Yeah.
That's great. Hold on. Detective Calloway was played by Peter Riggert. Great actor. I agree. He was a great actor and everything. He did a very good job at playing Detective Calloway. Matter of fact, I like the other scene where he is actually dressed up as like the Mexican mariachi guy who's going chick chicky boom, chick chicky boom.
Yeah,
that
was the scene I was going to speak about. That's my favorite scene in the whole entire movie. That's my favorite scene because he does all these moves and the police just follow.
Right. That's another thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was really funny.
He dances, he swings from side to side, he goes, ay, 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 and then he goes around the place and then he kisses at the end. Yeah. Do you remember? And then he runs away. Right. That's the best scene in the whole thing.
Yeah, I thought that was one of my favorite scenes in that whole movie, though, to be honest with you, because I also like the part where he's at the park at first with Tina, And he goes, "Ah, mademoiselle, I'm gonna give you. Would you like a
Oh
kiss?"
yes. And then he shoots a bow and arrow. I think bow and arrow in the heart.
And then that's when Detective Holloway comes in. Goes, "Ipkiss, freeze!" And then he freezes, and he goes, "Put your hands up!" But you told me to freeze.
Oh yeah, he freezes and he freezes and then what happens next? I think there's one
Then,
more CGI effect before the big scene.
and well, they're actually searching him and searching his pockets. He goes, "A bazooka."
Oh yeah,
He goes, "I have
bazooka.
no idea." He goes, "I have no idea how that got there." And he goes, "A picture of Calloway's wife." He goes, "What?" And he goes, "Well, you married her." And then he slaps both the detectives, handcuffs them, and then he runs off. And then that's when he does his whole entire mariachi act and everything too. Because remember, he also ends up chaining the doors of the alleyway, and also he also does like a Bugs Bunny kind of act though too, where he's actually hammering the nails on the wood as well,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
trying to yeah, I'm trying to block them
yeah,
from coming in.
yeah.
So
I
I thought that
remember.
was actually a
Yeah,
funny bit.
and then they're on the outside, and his eyes go wide like that, and then
Right,
it turns into the big scene. Hit it, and then the music goes on.
right. As a matter of fact, I actually bought the soundtrack for that one song.
And the
That's
song
why I
is
bought.
called. It's called Cuban
Uh,
Pete. Cuban
yeah,
Pete.
the beat,
I know because I
and that
watch it
was
weekly.
right. That was actually one of my favorite songs on that whole entire soundtrack. To be honest with you, that's why I actually bought the soundtrack. Because at that time I was actually into I'm still in to heavy comedy and stuff like that, but I was going to try and use it as a talent show act or something to actually make my friends laugh, because I actually like making people laugh.
Same
so
here.
so that's why I actually bought the soundtrack. But that has so much charisma from Jim Carrey on
Yeah,
the way he actually can actually shapeshift his body into different things, the way he moves, the way he acts. It's just great. And
yeah.
then at that time, though, too, the newspaper woman, I forgot what her name is, but remember, he actually sent in a newspaper article to the newspaper about nice guys finish last. And the woman from the newspaper winds up picking him up. He goes, "Oh, Stanley, come inside the car and everything. I'm going to help save you." But it turns out that she is actually just after just a news story herself, so the way she can get popular. And that's when
Yeah,
Peter
uh,
Green is actually
yeah. They
being
yeah, and then she takes it. Then she gives it. Is it a boyfriend? I don't. To the villain of the movie. She gives a
yeah,
mask to the villain of the movie. He wears it. So then eventually it gets to the dog. The dog wears it, and then finally he uh Stanley wears it.
right. But before all that actually happens, though, Peter Green comes out with and everything, puts the mask on, and basically he's after greed, he's after power, he's after everything, right? So basically, that mask ends up showing the darkness devours that he actually wants. He wants greed, he
I
wants
see.
money, he wants control, he wants
Oh
it
yeah,
all.
it shows a true character or who they want
Right,
to be.
right.
Except maybe it's, oh,
Oh,
it looks pretty.
Styles
Sorry,
Films
I'm reading
also.
this.
It's okay. Also, Peter Green already looks pretty scary even before he gets the mask effect as evil Dorian. I totally agree with you on that one too. He is just a scary being at and everything else. He's this mafioso character who wants power, who wants greed, and that just shines through. And then all of a sudden, the transformation of his face is just scary. And I agree with you on that. Evil Dorian is just scary as hell. I'm just gonna put it there like that. And then, of course, another thing too that I also want to mention, he also put Stanley in prison because he actually rats
Oh yeah,
Stanley out for robbing the bank. And then Tina goes, "Was that really you, Stanley? Was that really you behind the mask?" He goes, "Yes." And he slides up to the thing. He goes, "Yeah, that was me." She goes, "I thought it was you." And then, they have this little romance thing, and all of a sudden, Calloway just comes in and just breaks up the whole entire thing. And he goes,
yeah, and
"Okay,
then that
enough."
that's part where she switches sides. Then she switches
Well,
side there.
well, she doesn't really switch sides or anything. At that time, Dorian just goes on ahead and
Wait, who are you speaking about? The journalist.
uh, no, I'm not talking about the journalist. I'm talking
Oh, I thought you
about
speak about.
no, the journalist is just out for her own self because she just wants a
Yeah,
story. So they're not like boyfriend and girlfriend. Tina's actually the girlfriend of Dorian. So basically, all she wants to do is get popular by actually turning Stanley into this mafioso character so that way she can get what she wants, which is just a
yeah,
story to get popular on. And that's all it is. She just ratted him out to Dorian for her own needs and wants.
yeah,
But as far as Carmen Diaz's character, Tina, she's actually just trying to get away from Dorian because of how manipulative he is. He's very controlling, abusive, and things like that. She wants a guy like Stanley and everything. She wants to be with Stanley, and she winds up getting kidnapped after Stanley tells her to go on ahead and get away from him, move away from the city. It's no longer safe anymore, and that's when he actually sees Dorian kidnap her, and the guard is just falls asleep. Goes, guard, you have to go on ahead and save her, and everything. And the guard is just passed out asleep, and then that's when Milo comes over and everything, and he's been sleeping in that gutter since Stanley got arrested. So I'm gonna let you pick up from that part.
sure. The part where he
Okay.
got arrested. You mean the part where he got arrested and he's in jail?
Yeah, he's in jail. Then that's when
He's in jail.
Yeah, and then Milo's jumping up and down to go and
Yeah, that's what I remember from that scene. I don't.
okay.
That's what I remember.
Okay,
You
that's okay.
carry on with that bit. I don't remember that
Okay,
bit.
that's okay. But no, Milo is jumping up and down to get to Stanley.
Yeah.
So finally, he
Oh
jumps
yeah. Then
all
he
the way up.
comes in. He
Yeah.
gets in. He gets the keys from the guards. Then he hands Stanley the keys. Then he gets out, and I don't know where he goes next to the Copacabana
Okay.
Club.
Well, another thing that actually happens though before he actually gets the keys, though,
He
remember he's
gets.
telling Milo. He goes, Milo, get the keys on the guard. Milo gets the cheese instead of the keys. He goes, no, drop the cheese, get the keys
That's
on
so
the guard.
impressive. That's impressive. How does he know what cheese is?
Right?
Yeah.
And then he's just looking at him like, what? And let's see here. Styles Film says, I think it was Amy Gasback who played the reporter. Yeah, that was actually her. I just looked up at IMDb not too long ago and everything. That was her. I just couldn't remember the actual actress's name. So thank you for actually pointing that out, man. I do appreciate that. But yeah, he ends up dropping the cheese. He gets the keys, and then he goes on ahead and hands the keys over to Stanley. And that's when Stanley winds up trying to go over to the Coco Cabana again. And then, of course, that's
Okay.
when we have that. Yep, that's when we have that whole entire shootout.
Oh yeah. Then he
And
has a whole shootouts, and then he has a grenade launcher. He has an RPG. He has all these guns. I have a gun, not real. I have a gavel too. Harmonica. Then so that scene, and then he's scared. They all run away, and then he shoots, and it's just signs saying "bang," a whole bunch
yeah,
of signs
bang,
and
bang,
banners
bang.
saying "bang, bang, 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 bang," and
Right.
I like that.
Yeah, I love that scene too, as well. Then, of course, we also have Milo, who actually turns into the mask as well. Because remember, they actually do get the mask off of Dorian, and then, of course, Milo sticks his head inside the mask, and then he starts tearing everybody to shreds, peeing on them. Then, of course, chewing them, and then Stanley goes on ahead, gets the mask, takes it off him, and then he transforms back into the mask. He has that striped suit on, like he was in the mob, the Italian mob type of thing. Then,
Yeah, see, he's in the mob. See, you want to mess with me? See, bang, 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 bang.
yeah,
Then
all right,
he goes back into his casual yellow, into the yellow. So back to
right.
black, seeing black stripes, and then into the yellow, back to his original yellow suit.
Right. Which I thought was great because I love that suit on him. I always love when characters are actually in black striped suits for some reason. I think it's just the Italian side of me because I'm also into mafia movies. But that bit actually works out really well because remember, that's when also too Tina's actually tied up to that palm tree, and there's a bomb underneath her, and Dorian is like, okay, one wrong route move and everything, and she's gonna get it. And then of course he winds up this is what Stanley does. He winds up drawing out of paint this little toilet flush thing and puts it
Oh
on the
yeah, yeah,
concrete
yeah.
and
He draws
flushes
it out, then he
Dorian down
flushes, and it just goes all down.
right.
I
He
remember.
goes
And
all
then
the
the
way
dog,
down.
then the dog swallows the bomb. Is that
Right,
the next bit to
right.
this bit?
Actually, it was actually Stanley that swallows the bomb because I remember this. He goes on
Oh
ahead,
yeah,
flushes him down. Yeah, he flushes him down and goes, "That's a spicy meatball." And and then he goes, "You see, kid, you were good. You're real good. But you see, you're just
that's
checking
a good
best too."
impression. That's a
Thanks.
good impression.
But yeah, he goes, "You see, kid, you were just checking best. You see." So, and he goes, "All right, baby." He goes on ahead, takes the bomb, goes on his throat, goes, and then of course he ends up burping out the thing and goes, "That's a spicy meatball."
That's a
And then
spicy meatball.
you're right. And then of course he takes off his black hat and he throws it, and then of course that's when he kisses Tina again. And then he realizes at that point though too, he doesn't need the mask anymore
Yeah,
either.
and then he throws it away, and it doesn't come back.
Well, actually, this is actually what happens. They're actually on the bridge. Remember,
Yeah,
they're on the bridge, and he throws it over the bridge.
and
And,
the dog goes for
and the
it.
dog is well. His friend jumps inside the river and
Oh
everything,
yeah,
and that's when Milo is trying to keep the mask away from his friend because Milo knows that there's a lot of responsibility that comes with this mask.
yeah,
So I'm going to quote Spider-Man in this one. With great power comes great responsibility. So with this mask, great power. With this mask comes great responsibility. So therefore, Milo is just trying to keep the mask away from him because I think Milo also knows how his friend actually is. So he wants to keep that side away from him. And also, too, at that time, Stanley is actually grown into the man that he wants to be because he actually
yeah,
has that confidence now. He's got the girl that he's been wanting. He's got everything that he's been planned out since the beginning of the film. But he winds up becoming this loser, this zero, and then he comes into this being a hero, and he winds up having the girl he wants. He has the confidence now to the point where he's like, you know what? I don't need the mask anymore, despite the fact that everybody would be after this mask just to have power, just have whatever they want.
yeah.
But he's like, I don't need this anymore. I got everything that I need. I got my friend, I have my dog, I have my girl now. I don't need nothing else. So that's the thing that I got out of that concept.
And then someone else goes for it. He throws it
Yeah,
away. Doesn't come back because someone else is going
yeah,
for it.
right.
And they made a
And
sequel.
yep. Styles Films says, love the voices, man. Funny.
That's
Thank
for
you so
you.
much. Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, they did make a sequel out of it called The Son of the Mask. I remember whenever I heard about this back in 5th grade that they were going to make a
It's
sequel.
not.
They never
It's
did.
nowhere near as good.
No,
But
no.
it's different. But it's nowhere near as good. I think it's a baby who has it. The baby and the
It's a
dog who has it.
yeah, it's a baby that actually has it, and that's actually Jamie Kennedy who actually plays the mask, who actually played in Malibu's Most Wanted. And here's the thing: I remember in 5th grade, like I was saying before, whenever I heard that there was some news about Son of the Mask, and I was actually excited about the fact that we might actually get another Mask movie, and I wasn't sure if Jim Carrey was going to be attached to it or not. But then years later, I don't hear anything about this movie at all anymore. And it's back in my college days when this movie actually came out. I'm like, okay, I feel like this movie is like too little, too late. It missed the part. It missed the party when it should have actually had the party moment, and it it
Why is
should have
that?
went in. Uh, why is what?
No, why is that? Why did it miss its moment? It's
Because I
pun
feel
and it's
like
a question.
okay. So here's the thing. usually when studios wants to make a movie, they want to once they see the box office numbers, they want to make a sequel right away. We've seen that before, that whole entire process, right? Especially
Yeah,
when you look at Star.
sometimes they wait a year or two before
Right,
actually starting it.
right, but they waited way too long to even do a movie. I mean, this movie came out in '04 or maybe '06, somewhere around that time, to the point
Oh.
where everybody forgot what The Mask is in a sense. Nobody really was clamoring for another Mask movie anymore. And that's also the same thing that happened with Zoolander 2, why it did so poorly at the box office and things like that, was because of the fact that they missed their marker when they should have ended up hitting the iron while the iron was hot. And so that's why it fell flat. And let's see here. Styles
Yeah,
Film
that's
said so
true.
many people
Stars
fall
film,
flat
I don't know
there.
who you
Yep.
are, but that is true. A lot don't make it, but a lot do. Some do get better.
Yeah.
Avengers get better, but those aren't really sequels. Those are more like individual
Well,
movies that make up a whole brand.
Well, that is still basically I would actually consider that like a sequel with the Avengers and stuff like that. But that's a franchise. You're looking at a whole entire franchise brand, like you mentioned. So you are right about that. But it is a whole franchise. With The Mask, it's not a franchise. It's not a franchise film. It's just a sequel that's supposed to be just as good as the original film. And you can generate money if you hit when the iron is hot. It's like, hey, look, this movie made over let's say for instance it made $4 million or on a $2 million budget or whatever. Let's
Yeah.
just use that example. It made some money but not enough money to actually generate anything, which I could actually see why they might not actually do it. But let's see. Styles Film says, can you be a sequel that's better than the first
I
movie I
can
made?
be a sequel. I can be a sequel.
To be
But
honest with you, Terminator 2, like you mentioned, is awesome. It's an awesome
have
film.
you can I name a sequel though? Cars 2 is I think just as good as Cars 1. Uh what is it? Toy Stories, the Toy Story movies. The Toy Story movies are just as good as each other.
Let's see here. If I have to pick a sequel that was just as good as the other, I would actually have to go with. I'm not going to go with Hangover because the Hangover 2 wasn't that great. I love the Hangover 3 over Hangover 2 because it was different. Let's see. If I had to pick one, I would actually have to go with maybe I'm going to go old school. I'm going to go a little bit old school on this one, but my childhood, which is Home Alone 2.
That's a good
And
movie,
it was
just as good as the original.
yes, and it was just as good.
Then
And
they
I
went
also
for a
have
third and fourth. Then they went for a third and fourth with a completely different bunch of actors. Didn't go as
right.
well.
No, definitely not. And I get the fact Macaulay Culkin is older now and stuff like that at that point in time as well. So I mean, they could have actually just gone ahead and used him having a kid, and the kid is actually going through the same emotions that he went through as a kid, being left alone. But they went with a whole entire different angle than what they did. But
I
yeah,
see.
I definitely
If he made the movie now, it would be called "Why Aren't You Home Alone?"
that would be
If he
funny,
made the movie now,
right? But I do have to agree with Styles' film, though. I mean, Terminator 2 is such a great film, and not the other sequels that followed after that one, but it's actually a great film that followed up with the first one with the originality, with the horror elements mixed in with the action. It was really great. Um, but yeah, back to this one with Jamie Kennedy with The Mask. I just feel like they missed the marker. It wasn't as good. They tried to do the jokes. The jokes just didn't land that well. The mask didn't even look like the mask at all. It felt more like, to me, it felt like a plastic mask. I'm going to be real. It just felt like a plastic mask versus a rubber type of mask that Jim Carrey wore.
now that could be because it was a plastic one, but
Right.
I see what you mean. Hi there,
It
Tamika.
just didn't feel. It just didn't feel realistic to me. With
Yeah,
the
I've only seen it once. I think I've only seen it once. It's nowhere near as good as the original, but they tried. Because
they tried.
if they didn't do it, people would say we really want a sequel. Now they've done a sequel, they know it won't be as good.
Exactly. And then also too, They also try to incorporate Loki into the second film as well, trying to do the
Yeah,
mythology. To
that
me,
was the
you didn't
first
need
one
to
as
have
well, didn't they? That was the
no.
first as well.
No. Matter of fact, all Ben Stein did was acknowledge the fact that the mask is from Loki, the god of
Yeah,
chaos, and that's
there.
it. And that was perfect. You don't need to actually show Loki doing things at all, because I feel like you can do a little just a little nod to the mythology and everything, and keep everything simple. They were trying to overcomplicate something that didn't need to be overcomplicated. It's not rocket science, right? A guy puts on a
Yeah.
mask, he winds up doing crazy things, and then, of course, that's when things start happening. Okay, Styles, films. What did you say, man? It's Vinny. Vinny here, by the way, from the Cash Mash podcast. Oh, okay. From the Cash Mash podcast. Loving the discussion, guys, and definitely going to check out Movie Lovers Unite's podcast now.
Oh,
Thanks,
Chat
Curtis, for telling
Smash.
me.
Hi.
Thank you,
Hi
man.
there.
I appreciate you checking me out. I do appreciate it. Curtis is just a great guest. I'm glad to actually have him on the show. But yeah, I
Thanks
mean,
for turning up. I told him about it just beforehand. Thanks for turning up.
that's awesome. And I hope that you also check out the audio only podcast as well, because those episodes are a lot different than the video ones. I did convert the video file formats into audio file formats, but there is a long list of other stuff that I did just for audio formats. So go in and check that out, man.
But the thing I like about video is on the audio, you can't see me do funny faces like.
Right, exactly.
You can't see my props. You can't see me actually play a harmonica. You can't see anything. But I do like audio. You can reprise room, which actually. Oh.
Yeah, Tamika asked this question. Do you think Jim Carrey reprised his role in The Mask, or which actor would be a good replacement? Well, we already got Jamie Kennedy, who replaced him once. But as for Jim Carrey returning, I would love to actually see some way or fashion to where maybe the mask comes back into his possession. Maybe the mask is actually afraid of somebody else's masculinity, of actually gaining that power that Dorian had. So therefore, he actually has to be protecting the mask, or somewhere.
I think that would be a good idea. I think that would be a good idea. It'll be a bit like, I guess, Dumb and Dumber 2 to Dumb and Dumber 1. Slightly older, but maybe nearly just as good. Not just as good, but close.
You see, with Dumb and Dumber, right, and that's also another thing. With Dumb and Dumber 2, I felt like it was a little too soon, it was too late to the party on that one as well. That movie came out in between 95 and 96. If you wanted to make a movie to a sequel to that, follow it up 2 years later to 1998.
Actually, I think it was a good idea to wait that long on that one, because people missed it. People missed it, and they want sometimes after maybe 20 years, they want a reunion. That's why now so many shows are coming back as reunions. People want to see it again, so that's what they did.
That's actually a good. Okay, I didn't think of it from that angle, Curtis. That's actually a good point that you actually brought.
Why, thank you.
You're very welcome. But yeah, but yeah, I do. I love Jim Carrey. I always want Jim Carrey to come back with a comeback, and I think he has with Sonic the Hedgehog. I haven't seen that movie yet, but I know that he shines.
It's a good movie. I saw it the first week it came out. It's great.
Okay. All right.
That was the last movie I saw before everything closed.
Let's see here. Curtis asked, "Are you excited about the new Ghostbuster movie this year?" I'm going to let you take that one, Curtis, and after that, I'll answer him.
I haven't actually seen all the Ghostbusters. I've seen clips of each one, but as they've waited so long, how long has it been? 20 years?
It's been about 20 years.
Yeah. So it'll be a nice reunion.
Yeah.
It'll be a nice reunion. So that's why they're bringing it back, because it's a nice reunion. Right. So I think it'll do well, and I am excited. I didn't know it was coming out this year.
Yeah, they actually had to push back the release date. It was actually originally supposed to come out last year, but with the coronavirus and everything else that's been happening with this global pandemic and stuff like that, they actually had to push back that release date and everything, because I think it was supposed to be coming out around July or August for us in the US, and they actually had to push that release date back. But for me, I'm actually excited for this new Ghostbusters because this is actually something that I've been wanting to see. Been wanting to see the original Ghostbusters, and don't get me wrong, the 2016 Melissa McCarthy movie was bad and everything, but not as bad as I thought it was going to be. But you can't actually plaster that on the poster, right? You can't actually say Melissa McCarthy's Ghostbusters. It's not as bad as what you think it is, but it's okay, you know. But
It's not bad. They're
right,
all good movies.
but here's the thing: they tried doing this cameos that were forced into the into this Ghostbusters universe in 2016. Instead of making it its own original thing, with this one, you're actually incorporating new characters. You're incorporating Paul Rudd, who's a great comedic actor who has great comedic timing with everything. You're also getting the feel of the animated Ghostbusters as well with this too, because even with that part with the hearse, with the Gatling gun, with the gun, you know what I'm talking about? That was
No, I
actually
do
something
not.
that was well.
I
Anyways,
do not. But speak anyway.
okay, but that was actually something that was taken from the cartoons. So they were incorporating some of the things from the cartoons, mixing that in, and also making things fresh. So I definitely love what they're doing with this. In 1984, the original Ghostbusters style films was excellent.
Can you find out
Okay.
when it comes out this year? I'm just interested to know. Star Wars film. Also, can I take? You know what? If they want to do a reunion and he doesn't want to do it, I am smoking ready to do it.
He's got everything ready. He's got the gavel ready. He's got the gun ready.
I have everything ready. Order! It's party time. Yeehaw!
So yeah, he's locked and loaded.
Locked and loaded.
But yeah, I
See?
definitely have to say the 1984 Ghostbusters is actually one of my favorites. The first two films are one of my favorite Ghostbusters films. I'm a diehard fan of the Ghostbusters movies. I loved Bill Murray. Bill Murray is just fantastic in this movie. Of course, the actor who plays Egon passed away, so he's not going to be in this movie. But you know, there are going to be tips of the hat to him as well, which is something that I can actually appreciate with that as well, because of the fact that even though he's not there, he's there in spirit. So that's actually something I can actually appreciate. But yeah, Ghostbusters actually is on my list of movies that I've been wanting to see. Um, but yeah, as far as this whole entire idea about Jim Carrey might want to, if he does want to come back to play the mask, I'm sold on it. I like the idea of maybe a reunion, like you mentioned, Curtis, where people
Yeah.
might be ready to
I think
actually
it's the
see
right
some.
amount of time in between. Maybe an extra, I don't know, 2 years. He is doing extra things at the moment, so he's coming back. So you never know.
Right,
He might already be speaking about it. He might
right,
already
and I'm
be
all
starting to
for it.
do it.
Let's see here, June 2021 for
Oh,
Ghostbusters Afterlife. Yep,
oh, thank you.
I'm
Thank
excited
you.
for it.
You know
I
what?
just hope.
That's I'm going to watch it when it comes out. That I haven't seen, as I said, I've only seen clips of the movies.
Okay.
And Star Wars, I've only seen clips of them. I keep saying I need to no, I keep saying I need to watch Star Wars because I want to watch a Mandalorian. But then I say I'm going to watch it tonight. No, you know what? It's too late. Tomorrow's a good night. Tomorrow never comes. You know what? I'm going to watch it tomorrow. Tomorrow night I'm going to watch it.
Okay. But will tomorrow night
Not.
ever come?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Tomorrow night I'm busy. Next night.
Okay, best Jim Carrey movie ever. What do you have?
Either, either this or Dumb and Dumber.
Okay. For me, it's this one or it's gonna be Liar Liar.
I like that with the
Because,
tape around the face.
right. Because the color of the pen is blue. Then the color of the pen is
Blue.
blue. Right.
It's blue.
The claw. The claw thing makes me laugh though too. It's
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Jim Carrey does guest appearance on SNL as well as Joe Biden. He does a
I
fantastic
saw
job
that.
of playing.
Some people
Yes,
don't like it. I've seen on Twitter a lot of people don't like it, but I love it.
I
Especially
love
the
it.
final one. Oh, Ace Ventura. Very good movie. That's
Alrighty then.
second
Yeah.
Oh, right then. Yeah, I like it. And then he did in SNL. Yeah, I don't think. Have you seen it in the very last episode? Because he doesn't do it anymore. He stopped playing the character. He goes, "La who's her?" like that
Right.
at the end.
I
So I
love
brought it
that.
back from Ace Ventura just for that.
And you must be the Monopoly guy. That was from the second Ace Ventura movie. Then also
I've
too,
seen that. I've
yeah.
seen both Ace
Then
Ventura movies.
me
And
too. It was
I need
Ace Ventura 2. Well, what did you think of Ace Ventura 2 over the very first Ace Ventura movie?
different. I think I prefer the first slightly because of the plots of it. But the second one is just as good and just as wacky.
I
Is
agree.
it crazy? So,
Also, let's see. I also love the whole entire Mission Impossible theme song as he's actually trying to look for Snowflake in the very first movie, and then of course he's like, "Come here, Snowflake! Come here! Come here!" And it's actually a shark that jumps out of the tank and not the dolphin, which I thought was actually funny. Let's see here.
yeah,
Cable
that
Guy.
is for the dark side and Ace Ventura. Yes. Now,
Yes.
in number 2, in the second one, I'm gonna say my favorite scene in the second one is either where he's being introduced, what he's about to do. He's being introduced to the case, or is it the second one? Is it the second one where he goes to Africa to do the tribe?
The second one is the one where he's in Africa looking for the bat and everything, and
Yeah,
he's part
and
of
then
doing the
when he
fight.
does a big fight with a tribe, and then he gets burned or something, and goes ah! Yeah.
Right. And then there's also
Yeah,
where he's actually supposed to be White Devil. Remember, they actually did the White Devil thing, and then they're shooting the arrows, and he's like this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But Tamika asked,
Yeah.
"What do you think about Jim Carrey's serious roles? Does he have good depth at range to you?"
I haven't seen them. I haven't
You
seen
haven't?
them.
Oh, okay.
Well, no,
I have.
some are a mix. So, which movie is like a mix? One of them's a mix.
Okay.
I forgot to. We just said a second ago.
I'm gonna actually have to go on an underrated film that he played in, and that's the Spotless Mind.
I haven't seen that one. Serious side. Have you seen?
Okay, it's actually Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is actually one of his serious movies that he's done. And he's got some great range when it comes down to serious movies. And that's one of them, especially when you actually have somebody that's actually going into his mind and wiping certain things out of his mind. And everything too. It's very good.
That sounds good. My favorite, Tamika just said, that's what I was about to say. The Truman Show. That's a mix.
Yes.
That's a mix between the two, and I like it. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Good night. Right. And also, too, I just want to say this. I feel like The Truman Show was actually ahead of its time. Because at that time, we didn't really have a lot of reality. That's actually the beginning of reality television.
But then there's also, I see what you're saying, but there's also a part of it where it was at the perfect time.
Right. It was actually. Sure.
So there wasn't a lot of reality shows back then, but a part of it says that was a perfect time before anything big came in, but also whilst there was smaller stuff still coming up.
Right. But yeah, it was definitely a mixed bag of seriousness and also silliness, though, too. So I definitely love The Truman Show. The Truman Show doesn't get enough love to me.
Yeah, I don't think it won anything. That was an Oscar snub right there. I remember watching him in an interview. That's what he said. Then he did Man on the Moon. That's a mixture of both too. And
exactly.
Same again. We have a few more comments.
Yep. Let's see here. Irene. Styles Films, Me, Myself, and Irene. He plays a split personality. I actually love that movie, to be honest with you. What did you think of Me, Myself, and Irene?
Me, Myself, and Irene. I think I've seen a clip of it. Is that where he's in a soldier costume? Soldier outfit?
Actually, he's actually a Canadian police officer who.
That's the one.
Yep.
There was one scene I saw on YouTube from it. One scene I saw. It looks good. I haven't seen it though.
It's funny though, man. It's funny. I love it. Basically, the whole reason why he has split personality disorders is because of the fact his wife winds up leaving him for somebody else, and now he has the kids by himself. All of a sudden, he develops this whole entire split personality persona and everything.
Yeah,
So it's very enjoyable. It's very
that
entertaining.
that sounds good. I need to watch that. I will watch it.
So
There were two comments we missed. Do you think they should do it Ace Ventura 3? How would you write the plots? You go first because I need to think about this.
okay, so I would actually go ahead and put it in this. Ace Ventura is pretty much on rock bottom after coming back from Africa and everything. He's not the top detective like he was. Nobody's really reaching out to him as much. So he starts. So we also have to make this thing kind of fresh though too. So he starts putting ads on Craigslist. He starts putting on advertisements for pet detectives and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, maybe like the NBA just winded up putting an animal as their mascot into the whole entire mix. And all of a sudden, that that animal gets taken and winds up being on somebody else's team or something around that area. Maybe he's actually investigating a rival team that would actually take the animal for their own pleasures and everything too. Maybe they're trying to go in and steal them to actually get money off of it or something like that. And that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking maybe do it around the basketball, do a basketball theme out of it, and have maybe a rival team stealing maybe the Chicago Bulls mascot or something like that.
That would be good. I just came up with 3 ideas. So,
okay.
I liked your idea about the Craigslist at the beginning. He puts himself on Craigslist because that's new. Then, either he has his own parrots, I think, or cockatoo or something. It's a type of bird, or a pigeon. I'm not sure. He has a bird, so his own animals get stolen. That could be fun. Or, so back to the Craigslist, he goes on Craigslist, someone contacts him, but from the White House, and maybe the president's dogs have got stolen. So, and then he does all these wacky things with the president of the United States, and then that would be crazy. So serious and crazy combined. That would be a good third sequel.
I would. You know what though? I think I would watch your movie though. I think I would actually watch the one with the White House one.
Yeah, White House goes on Craigslist. They contact him. White House, the president's dogs have been stolen. He has to go find it. That'd be good.
Hello, Tara.
Hi there. Hi there. Nice to meet you. That was
what would you name that title though for the White House one? Because we already have Olympus Has Fallen, so maybe we can.
And then White House Down. Yeah, but that's already been taken.
Right. Ace Ventura when President Calls or something.
I think these old movies. Ace Ventura, executive something like that. Executive stolen or something. You like those? Thank you, Tamika. And then there was one more comment we missed. When he crashes a Jeep into the parking space like a glove. That is a good bit. Yeah. That's one of my favorites.
That is a good bit. I remember Subway when back in the 90s when Ace Ventura When Nature Calls was actually getting started and they were trying to promote it. So they actually had a Subway commercial where Jim Carrey is actually driving the Jeep and he's actually flipping the Jeep over into the Subway parking lot. And I thought that was actually pretty funny.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I think you might be able to find that on YouTube. But yeah, it's like an old 1990s commercial and everything is funny. Then let's talk about When Nature's Called for a minute because I actually liked a couple of scenes. I like the part where everybody's actually having a party because of the fact he's actually leaving that temple, the Buddhist colony that he's actually at. And there's this one guy that comes in briefly and is just running around naked. He goes, "I've never seen them act like that before." But
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden
Well,
the thing with then the Slinky going down the stairs. Just
I
Slinky, a Slinky. Everybody loves a
wait.
Slinky.
Are you speaking about the second Ace Ventura? What,
Yeah, that's in the second Ace Ventura film.
second one? Which parts? I've forgotten that
That
scene.
was at the very beginning, whenever the guy is over there trying to get him to come into the jungle and when nature calls, and he's in a
Yeah.
Buddhist colony on this very huge temple,
Oh yeah.
and then of course they're actually loving the fact that he's actually leaving, so they're having this big old huge party. And this one guy is just naked. He lost his robe. I don't know what happened to him, but he's over there just having a good time. And then Jim Carrey just looks over to his right or whatever. He goes, "I never seen them act like that before." And then finally, he's used the Slinky to go all the way down the stairs. You Slinky, you Slinky. Everybody loves Slinky. Then all of a sudden, last step, the Slinky stops. It was almost there. He goes, "Oh, we can try it again." And then the
That
guy's like,
sounds. I've completely forgotten that bit. I've forgotten that bit, but so he's going downstairs inside of a slinky, or he is a slinky.
"Hold on, that is Ace Ventura's subway commercial."
Oh, that's a subway. Oh, that
No,
is a commercial.
Chicago, I think. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what Mika's meaning.
Kebab, Chicago.
Chicago. Then there's also the
Oh,
part on
shish.
the.
Is that a quote from the movie? Shish kebab, sure, Chicago. Is that a quote?
That is.
I need to catch up on those movies.
But yeah, that's actually a quote from that. But I also like the other part where they're actually traveling over to the jungle as well. And the flight attendant is like, "Want some peanuts?" He goes, "I have mine in between my legs, but I prefer mine on a carry-on." And she goes, "Peanuts," and just gives. Let's see. Oh,
Those
okay,
are all
okay.
great bits. Put a link in the
Okay, I know.
comments. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Tamika.
Thank you. I will check it out. Those sound like great scenes, and those are great scenes from the movies. Again, I need to watch it. So instead of watching the Star Wars movies tomorrow night, I will watch those movies tomorrow night. And then I will somehow move the Star Wars movies to the night. No, I will watch the sequel the night. I will eventually watch Star Wars.
Okay. So I think that's pretty much everything that we wanted to cover as far as the mask goes. We enjoyed interacting with everybody on here and everything. We do appreciate everybody coming in here and actually commenting, talking to us. This is what I love about the StreamYards. I love just talking with us, to our guests and everything too, and also to the fans of this page. Let me take a look and see if we might have missed anything. But so far, I think we covered it all.
We missed a yes ... LOL. We missed that.
Yeah. Yep. Styles Film says yes, LOL, and that's pretty much it. So
that's all of it.
So I have a quick question for you, Curtis. Where can everybody reach you on your podcast? Not on my podcast, because you got confused earlier when you thought that this was your podcast.
Oh, yeah, and then you dragged me into doing your show, and here I am.
Right, but exactly.
You can find it. I think my link is in the description below. It should be below in the description, but you can find it on Apple. You can find it on Listen on Spotify. You can find it anywhere you get to your podcast. You can find it there and there and there and there and there. You can find it everywhere. You can find it anywhere you like. Great show. Thank you.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it.
I'm glad you did, man. You know what? I want you to be back on here again. I had a blast doing this with you. Another thing, too, guys, is this. We actually have a GoFundMe page for Movie Lovers Unite. How do you do that? Go on ahead, click the links below and everything. You can actually donate to the show if you actually choose to do so. If you don't want to, that's okay. That's perfectly fine, too. Another thing, too, is we actually have a movie page for all your entertainment needs and wants, and that's actually www.movieloversunite.com. You can catch Tamika and I doing movie reviews there, typing up different articles that we actually find with movie news. We also have another thing too. We're actually sponsored by Audible, so go ahead, click below and everything if you want to get a 30-day trial from us, and if you want to do some reading instead of watching some movies. And then, of course, you guys can follow me on Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite on Facebook. You can also follow me on Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite on Instagram and also on Twitter at Movie Lovers Unit. And of course, you can follow me on John DeGorio 8 on Twitter as well. And as a matter of fact, tonight I'm actually doing an audio-only podcast review of The Sopranos Season 4 Part 2 with Mike Perkins. That's actually going to be dropped tomorrow for our Mafia Talk Monday for Season 4 of The Sopranos. So stay tuned for that. And I'm also going to have my good friend Vic with me on Tuesday night talking about The Sound of Metal. And Tamika and I are actually doing something tomorrow as well, where it's Martin Luther King's birthday. So we're actually going to be doing a documentary review for one of the documentaries for Martin Luther King. So go ahead and check that out tomorrow night at 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, or it might be actually 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time as well. So that's everywhere that you guys can actually catch this. You can catch the audio version of this on wherever you get your platforms and everything for your audio. Always until next time, guys. Bye-bye.